there, fellow Star Wars nerds, and welcome to Unlimited Content, the podcast where two brothers talk about all of Star Wars film and TV in chronological order on the internet as an excuse to hang out more. We're your hosts, Sam and Jack, and this week we're talking about Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. And with us this week, you're getting three brothers for the price of none. We've got our brother Max here as a guest today.
Max,
hello.
Max. That's me. Hi, I'm Max.
So Max, you want to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about tell the fine people at home a little bit about you and what your deal is?
Yeah, sure. So I'm the third of the Ford siblings. There's Sam, then Jack, then me, and then Gracie, but she's not here.
She's probably listening. She better be listening.
Yeah, Gracie. So I am currently at school up in Seattle. I am studying creative writing and visual arts. I'm an artist. I like to write. And shameless plug time, if you would like to follow me, I post art on the internet for fun. I can be found on most social media platforms at Max Concannon, MaxCanConn.
I'll put it in the description.
It'll be down below, whatever.
Yeah.
I always forget how many N's are in your middle name.
Yeah, it's my own name, and I always forget.
I think it's Concannon.
Concannon. Yes.
Boom.
It's just like spelling it out loud, I always mess up. Anyway.
Yeah. But yeah, Max is a brilliant artist. He makes amazing characters and backgrounds, and his art improves every time I see a new post from him, and it's amazing, so you should definitely follow him.
For sure.
And Max is graduating pretty soon.
What?
It's in like a month or two.
Oh, man.
Right? Like,
Yeah, graduation is, it's like mid-June.
Very excited for you.
Sam, how did our little brother get to the end of college already?
I don't know, man. I feel so old. Shoot dang.
From my perspective, the pandemic started, and then there was like a weird like black void that for like a year and a half where nothing happened, and then suddenly I was like a senior.
Yeah, because the pandemic hit the spring of your freshman year, right?
Yes, it was just about 3 years ago, just over 3 years ago.
Yeah,
because it was just before spring break when it started, and spring break was 5 weeks ago now.
Barf.
Yeah,
that is rough.
But now we're here. We have a certified artiste
yeah,
joining us to talk about the certified artistic masterpiece that is Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. The best of all Star Wars movies.
Yeah, this is the first time I think I've watched this movie all the way through fully conscious. Like, it's been on in the room when I've been present. But the only other times that I have attempted watching this movie was like in like Star Wars movie marathons.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. When you're in a semi-conscious fugue state through the whole thing.
Yeah, it's like at this point, like I've already like lost all energy and like, but now I got to experience it all in real time, in person, and I did enjoy it. Yes.
Good. I cannot wait to hear your thoughts on this movie.
Yay.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Max, can you tell us a little bit about just kind of your personal history with Star Wars, like as a cultural thing? Like, I know Jack and I have talked about our growing up with Star Wars, but you were born like right before this movie came out.
Yeah, this movie was like 2002, right?
Yeah, you were born early 2001, so you were born between episodes 1 and 2. So you didn't. So Jack and I were both like prime age for watching all three of the prequel movies. You were not. So what is your just kind of your perspective on Star Wars and like your history with Star Wars?
I guess growing up with y'all in the house, like I definitely was like vaguely aware of like, oh yeah, Star Wars. That's the cool thing that one of the cool things that like I don't know older people know more about than me.
Yeah. And
I was like vaguely aware of like all like the Luke, I am your father. Spoilers, sorry.
What?
Yeah, I don't know. It was just like in the cultural miasma, and I kind of like osmosed
Good word.
most of it. Yes, I'm an English major. I know lots of good words.
No.
Yeah. So I feel like I watched like the original trilogy, I don't know, relatively young, I guess, when I was like preteen, thereabouts. And then I was fully conscious for all of like the new like sequel trilogy and them movies. But I've never gotten like super into Star Wars until literally, I've said this before, when y'all started this podcast. Because like now like I have like a way that I can just like
You have sage guides to guide you through the process.
There's like a secondary thing that I care about associated with Star Wars now.
Yes. I love being a secondary thing.
You care about us? Or our podcast at least?
Surprisingly, yeah.
Yes, Max cares.
Awesome.
I love it.
But yeah, and like this movie and like the prequel trilogy are as part of that cultural miasma. We're just like, oh, those are the bad ones. But
yeah,
I now know that you apparently love them, Sam. So yeah, I'm very excited to talk about this.
Well, we're excited to have you here.
We are so excited to have you here, Max. It's awesome. All right. Well, before we get into like anything like real unlimited and contenty, we have bills that are rather unlimited. Jack, who is paying our unlimited bills this week?
Yeah, who's paying my appearance fee?
Max's very expensive appearance fee.
Yeah.
Yes. Like, I'm a working artist. I gotta pay my bills, too.
Charges $800 an hour to be here.
Yeah, Max, do you accept Republic credits?
I guess so. What's the exchange rate?
I don't know, but credits will do fine. That's all that matters.
Credits
Jack,
will
what's
do
our sponsor?
Today's episode of Unlimited Content is brought to you by Death Sticks. Every puff will make you want to go home and rethink your life. They're really bad for you. That's why we called them Death Sticks.
Thank you, Death Sticks, for sponsoring this episode.
Death Sticks. You want to buy some Death Sticks?
I forgot. I was supposed to include like a Surgeon General's warning in there or something, but you know what? It's fine.
Yeah, whatever.
Death Sticks would not include a Surgeon General's warning. It's in the name. You just you should know this isn't great for you. So if you need a Surgeon General's warning for Death Sticks, well, I don't know.
Then it sounds like you're the kind of person who would use Death Sticks.
Sounds like you're the kind of person who should go home and rethink your life. So
yeah,
there we are.
Is there like a Surgeon General like corollary in the Republic? I don't know. I want to know like what his job is like. Like what weird space diseases have the Jedi's gotten throughout the years?
Space diseases. It's a good question. Not that I know of. I don't know of any.
There are like zombie worm parasites in that one episode.
Yes, there's that one episode of Clone Wars when there's zombie worms that go into the brains of clones, and it's like a B horror movie. Yeah, whole thing. We'll get there eventually, probably.
Eventually.
Check back in 3 weeks for my Republic Surgeon General fanfic.
Ooh, I like
Amazing.
it. Yes.
Follow Max on all the things, and he'll post his fanfic.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. He promises it right now. No backing out, Max. You have to do it now.
Okay.
Got him.
Okay. Don't expect like it to be like fully fleshed out. There will be fan fiction, but it will not be like novel length. Don't worry.
It's all good. It's all good. I'll take what I can get.
All right, so this is the part of the show where we talk about what we've been up to in the past week. So, Sam, do you want to start by talking about what you've been up to, maybe what you've been reading or listening to or watching, etc.?
Sure. What have I been doing? My life is so busy. I don't know. This is every week. It's just like, I don't know what I do. I'm a parent of a toddler. I don't know. We've been doing a lot of gardening at our house. We're growing Sarah just planted all of our little things that we started from seeds because the last frost is finally, we're like 99% sure is come and gone. So Sarah planted a bunch of basil and tomatoes and zucchini and a bunch of fun stuff. So I've been helping out with that, or just like doing the dad things while mom goes off and does those things in the garden, usually because she's the expert and I'm her number one fan and the one who keeps the toddler from stomping the things. So that's what I've been doing. Been doing that. Still listening to Light of the Jedi. I've been slowing down a little bit. It's like not as exciting or fun or engaging as I would like it to be. Not gonna lie, I probably won't finish it. But it is kind of cool. I don't know. I'm probably just gonna not finish it. Thinking about that. But yeah, I don't know. Other than that, not a whole lot going on in my life other than just work and gardening and being outside. I started working out again, which has felt really good.
Excellent.
Re-upped my Apple Fitness Plus subscription, and I've been doing that on the daily for like a week now. So that feeling real good. That plus the warm weather. Mental health's doing great right now. Just because getting blood pumping and getting outside and fresh air, and I love it. So that's me last week. What about you,
Cool.
Jack Ford?
Me, let's see. So let's see. I finished Resident Evil 4 remake finally. Excellent game. Definitely recommend it. I think that of the Resident Evil games I've played, so I've played the remake of the original, the remake of 2, the remake of 3, the remake of 4, the original 4, and I've played 7 and 8. So that's a lot of them. I think my favorite is still Resident Evil 2 remake. I think like Resident Evil 4 remake was excellent, but I think I like the setting and the kind of the vibes of Resident Evil 2 more than Resident Evil 4. So Resident Evil 4 takes place in like a Spanish village, and whereas Resident Evil 2 takes place in Raccoon City in America, mostly in a police station. But it's a police station that used to be an art museum in canon, and so it's like a really weird, cool police station, and it's full of secret passageways, and that kind of stuff is my jam. I love that.
Where is Raccoon City? I know it's a fiction. I'm sure it's a fictionalized city, but what is it like?
Yes.
Is it supposed to be a city or like?
I'm not sure exactly where it's. I mean, it's definitely America, but I don't know beyond that. By the way, speaking of America, it is hilarious to me. So Leon S. Kennedy is the protagonist of both Resident Evil 2 and 4. In Resident Evil 2, he is a rookie cop with a heart of gold who shows up in Raccoon City, and on his first day is when the zombie outbreak happens.
Love that for him.
And then in Resident Evil 4 takes place like, I don't know, 6-8 years later, something like that. And he's like a more mature, like gruff, badass kind of like, quippy one-liner action hero kind of guy. And his new job is he is a special agent for the President of the United States. So like, man, he's moving up in the world. Yeah. Yeah.
From a rookie cop to a special agent specifically assigned to the President of the United States in just 3 games.
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, just in the span of just 2 games, because you start off at the beginning of the next one already there. So
yeah.
Wow.
And actually, he's not in 3. So he was in 2, and then we saw him in 4.
I need like a 2.5 where we get the backstory that we missed during 3. That's what I need.
Hey, I would be totally fine with that. More Leon Kennedy is always great in my book. He's a beautiful, handsome man with all the quips. He's great. So Resident Evil 4, definitely highly recommend it. And then aside from that, I just recently started replaying through Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, because the sequel comes out this Friday, and I just want to kind of refresh myself a little bit with the story and the world and everything. And it's a great game. I probably won't be able to get through the whole thing before the sequel comes out, but it's good to at least kind of dip my toes back into that. Super fun. The intro sequence to that whole game is very well done, very well paced, and engaging and exciting, while also teaching you how to play the game. And there's some great game design, great narrative design in the opening of that game. And I'm very excited for Jedi Survivor, which comes out this Friday. I just pre-ordered it. And then all the things that I'm going to be talking about this week are video games, because I don't have a whole lot else to talk about currently, at least in terms of like the last week. But I also started playing a game called Apotheon, I think is how it's pronounced. It's spelled Apotheon, but it is a side-scrolling Metroidvania, like, exploration, combat, platformer type game. But the aesthetic of it looks like ancient Greek pottery. So it's like all...
Ooh, I think I've heard of that.
That sounds so cool.
Yeah. It's super cool, yeah. And you play as, essentially, I think the gods have abandoned humanity, and your goal is to, like, go and gather all of these artifacts and then go fight Zeus or something. Pretty early on in the game, but it's very cool. It's got a really unique, beautiful art style. Like, I love games that, like, try to do something different visually.
Yes.
And, yeah, I'm enjoying that a lot. So, that's cool. And then the last game I'm playing is I've slowly been making my way through A Link to the Past. Because I never played all the way through that game growing up.
Really?
And it was like, yeah, this has been on my like, I need to, this is my list of shame of games that I never finished that I need to get through, you know? So I just made it to like the final dungeon, the final area where Ganon is supposed to be. And so that is, I'm slowly trying to make my way through some of the Zelda games that I never played through. So the big ones are Link to the Past, which I'm almost done with, Twilight Princess, which I've like played the first several hours of, but just like never gotten all the way through, and then Majora's Mask I need to play at some point because I never played that one.
Majora's Mask is so hard.
I've heard that. Yeah.
I started it, but like never could like get all the way through. I think but granted, I started like I was playing it on the Nintendo Switch Virtual Console just with like the Switch Joy-Cons. And it's not like designed for that, like the controller.
It's not like 1-to-1 with the.
Yeah, no, they didn't like.
Yeah.
They didn't remap it for the Switch controllers. It still just like assumes that you're playing with an N64 controller, which my brother-in-law has a Switch N64 controller that he said I could borrow, but I never got around to doing that. So yeah, Adam, if you're listening, I would love to borrow it at some point. But yeah, so I never really beat that. I hate to say this, I never beat Ocarina of Time. I feel bad.
Oh my goodness.
I get it. Like,
it's the Water Temple.
Same.
I never beat the Water Temple.
Yeah.
So what happened? Growing up, that I got stuck on that and never got past the Water Temple, and then when it came out on 3DS, I played it there and got all the way through. And the 3DS version actually makes some like good adjustments to the game, and specifically to the Water Temple to make it a little more easy to navigate.
Really?
So that was helpful. Yeah. Like, there's like more like clearly like signposted things and like just to make it easier to tell where you are because everything kind of looks the same in the Water Temple. And also Majora's Mask, they did the same thing where it's like they had the 3DS remake come out and it made some improvements that kind of streamlined things a little bit and made it, some people say, a better experience than the original. So that's been my like. I've wanted to play the 3DS version, but I don't currently have a 3DS. And 3DSs are expensive now because Nintendo doesn't make them anymore. And like it's been long enough since like they discontinued them that most of them have been kind of snatched up. I mean, there's plenty that you can get like on eBay or whatever, but it's like it's not easy to find. You know,
I might have a 3DS kicking around here somewhere.
No, you did, and then it ended up with me. Because I have it and it doesn't work.
Oh, the blue one? The blue one? Okay, got it.
Oh, is that the one that you got from Gracie?
Yes.
Yeah, that was the one that Gracie destroyed, I'm pretty sure.
I never even tried to play. I was like, oh, cool, but I didn't have a charger, so I couldn't do anything with it.
Yeah, if it's the one that I'm thinking of, then that one was never going to work for you, sorry.
Oops.
Yeah. I got a charger and tried charging it, and like it just doesn't turn on. Like you press the power button and like the screen flashes for a second and then it turns off. I think she said,
does it make like a weird popping noise?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, that's the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah, I think Gracie said that she was using like a stylus that was like too big for that model of 3DS and then like dropped it and the stylus just went through the whole 3DS.
Straight through.
No.
It was rough. It was not a good time for that 3DS.
Yeah.
That stinks.
But now Gracie has a cool Galaxy Edition 3DS XL, right? She's got the cool one.
Yes.
So
nice.
Everything turned out well for Gracie.
Yep, but not for Jack.
Nope, not this time.
Well.
But yeah, that's what I've been up to. Max, what about you? What have you been up to? Have you been playing anything interesting? Any cool stuff going on in your life?
I have been doing lots of interesting things. So just for like media that I've been consuming, I've been playing Pokemon Black again. It's very good. I am back in my Pokemon era once more. Mostly because like I've been doing lots of like kind of community art projects on the internet lately, just to like get my art out in front of people. So I'm currently actively involved in 4 different zines.
Cool.
Yeah, one of which is a Pokemon themed one, which is what got me back into it. So yeah, I'm playing Pokemon Black. I have 4 badges currently.
Nice.
Yes, I'm having a good time.
I've heard really good things about Black and White. That's like part like during the era. Like I've never been super into Pokemon, but I played enough of them growing up, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I've heard from multiple people that Black and White are some of the most underrated
Yeah,
Pokemon
for
games.
sure.
And I know people say that the story is really good.
It is, yeah. Yeah, Black and White and the sequels Black 2 and White 2 are, I think, collectively one of the better Pokemon stories. Not that that's a very high bar.
What are you talking about? Pokemon's always known for its narrative component.
Yeah.
Come on.
It's the very best. Nothing else ever was.
Yeah, you have got to catch them all.
Yeah, the story of if people want to rob you and you have to defeat them.
Yeah, sort of avoiding strangers' line of sight so that they don't challenge you to a street battle, but like a dogfight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, Pokemon Black and White are I definitely undervalued them when they first came out because I was 9 and I was like, this is different because in this one there are no Pokemon from previous games until after you've beaten the main story.
Oh wow.
So yes, it's very cool. I love it a lot.
I have not played a Pokemon game like I was diehard from kindergarten to 6th grade, played Pokemon nonstop. The second video game I ever got was Pokemon Yellow. And I would diehard Pokemon from all the way through that, and I played at least one installment of every generation for I guess 3 generations. But yeah, no, my memory is
Emerald, right?
Yeah. I think I had Ruby, but
Gotcha.
my memory is fuzzy on that part, so maybe I should stop.
Yeah, my memory is crystal clear because it's the only thing I've been thinking about forever.
No, Crystal's a different Pokemon game, Max.
Got him. If looks could kill.
Yeah, you listeners, you can't see it, but Max just gave me a death glare.
Yep. I'm surprised Jack survived.
Yeah. Anyway, Pokemon. That's one of the things I've been doing. Another thing I've been doing is I've been watching the original Trigun from 1998. It's an anime, a space western following this guy named Vash the Stampede, who is the humanoid typhoon. He's this big, super scary outlaw guy with lots of myths and rumors out about him, and he's running away from the law on this desert planet with big, cool, mysterious machinery all about. And it's him and these 2 people from an insurance company that are trying to prevent him from causing any more damage because he has on several occasions been blamed for the destruction of entire cities.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Everybody's been there, right?
Oh yeah.
Getting blamed for the destruction of a city.
But yeah, that's super fun. I started watching it because there was recently a reboot, Trigun Stampede, where it's I think it's a younger version of Vash, and it's all in really nice CG animation. It was done by Studio Orange. They did Lend Lustrous, which was one of the first big name 3D animated animes ever, really, and they also did Beastars. And I think they were involved with at least one of the things in Visions Volume 1.
Oh, cool.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's very good.
Is Trigun I don't... I feel I know what it looks like. Is that the guy he wears red? He's got spiky hair.
Yeah, all gigantic flowing red coat, big straight up spiky blonde hair. And there's also another guy with black hair and sunglasses and a big gigantic cross over his shoulder.
All right.
Yes. So it's very good. Highly recommend. I believe it's on Hulu.
Ooh.
Oh, cool.
Or on Crunchyroll, which is where I'm watching it.
Cool.
So both the original 1998 show and the new one. Yeah. Anything else I've been doing lately?
I mean, you're getting ready to graduate. That's pretty big.
Yeah, that's big. For one of my classes, I've been reading Zami, A New Spelling of My Name by Audre Lorde, which is very fun. It's her biomythography, as she calls it. It's just a new genre that she invented for this telling of her life story, and it's been
cool,
absolutely fantastic.
I like that word, biomythography.
Yeah, if you could define biomythography for someone who's never heard this word before, but is very curious.
Such as us.
as us and probably the rest of the people on the podcast. How would you define biomythography?
It's biomythography. It's like a combination of autobiography, like memoir, kind of like because it's all like stories about her, Audre Lorde, and like, but with a like mythical twist to it, I guess. It's like there is a lot of it that is like very poetic and often like larger than life, and like there's kind of blending of forms. Like there's like poetry, like the overall arch of the story is like not. It's somewhat chronological. It starts from like when she's young, like in her childhood, up until I think it ends at when she's like 23. She was writing this when she was like in her late 40s, early 50s. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
It sounds cool. Yeah. I love it when media like play with the form of things, and like I love unique ways of telling stories. That's always really cool and exciting to me. So yeah, that sounds cool.
Yes.
Yeah, I love that.
It's really gorgeous. It's y'all should read it. It's very good. It's really interesting to like get like this insight into this person and like the community around her and like what it was like as she like lived her life as a young Black lesbian in like the 50s. She's like, it's so interesting to see like, yeah, it's like there's a lot of like about her, like those like different aspects of her identity and how that like those like interacted with each other, and it's really honestly really beautiful to me to like just see like stories of queer people from that time, from like before like the 80s and 90s. Just like so many of these stories have been hidden away and like destroyed because they were like deemed as like immoral or whatever. And it's just like as a queer person today, it's like it always like this is very important to me.
It's awesome. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, send us the like maybe like an Amazon link or something for us so we can like check out that book. That's really cool.
Yep. What's it called again?
Zami, A New Spelling of My Name.
What is the actual spelling of this book, though? Tell me how you spell it.
Zami.
Okay, cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right,
and
cool.
It's Audre Lorde, AUDRE LORDE.
Cool.
Nice. Love that. We did it.
Yeah.
Anything new in Star Wars? I don't think so.
Yeah. I think we got a like I saw at least one I think they put out a teaser poster for one of the shorts from Visions Volume 2.
Yeah.
Like I sent it to you guys. It's called Sith, and the art
cool.
for that looks really
very
beautiful.
good.
So.
Yeah. Lots of bright colors, like splatter paint. Looks really cool.
Yeah, I'm really excited for Visions Volume 2. I was a big fan of Volume 1. I'm a very big like art and animation person. It's just like I want to eat it all.
Yes.
Eat it all up.
Love it.
Scrumptious.
Yep. Speaking of Visions Volume 2, Max, a few weeks ago when they announced Visions Volume 2 and that Aardman Studios was going to be doing an episode of Visions, Jack and I did our own kind of like fan casting of like who in the Wallace and Gromit, like who would Wallace and Gromit play like Muppet style in Star Wars. What do you think? I want to hear your thoughts on this.
Okay. Oh my goodness. Well, Gromit has to be the most confident character. I feel like I don't know. I want to say R2D2. Like that feels like it fits. Like he doesn't talk. He like always like is solving problems for people.
Honestly, I think the Wallace and Gromit dynamic is almost like a...
Would that make Wallace C-3PO?
Yeah, I was going to say, like, they're very C-3PO and R2-D2 kind of. Yeah.
That's perfect.
Yeah. Who would like the evil penguin be? That would... I don't know.
He's an inquisitor.
It'd have to be a direct nemesis to, like, R2-D2, right? Or something?
He's Chopper.
It's Chopper.
Oh, yeah.
It's Chopper. That's perfect.
Feathers McGraw is Chopper.
What other notable characters from Wallace and Gromit are there? There's the sheep.
There's Shaun the Sheep.
From A Close Shave.
I feel like Shaun the Sheep could be like BB-8 if we're going the droid route.
Yeah.
A little more like young and mischievous than R2-D2.
Yeah.
We've already discussed the wrong trousers are Darth Maul's legs.
Yes. Excellent. I love that so much. I like to imagine, because he had like spider legs, I like to imagine that it's the wrong trousers, but there are just 8 legs on it.
It's just like big mechanical pants.
Yeah,
Like an octopus.
Yeah, biblically accurate wrong trousers.
Oh, no. All right, I guess that's all that we've got to talk about before our main segment, I believe, unless somebody else has anything they want to talk about before we move on.
Nah, dude, I'm ready to dive in.
Huh?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
All right, well, with that, we are going to be talking about, for our main segment today, Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones.
I will not let this republic be split in two. My negotiations will not fail.
If they do, there aren't enough Jedi to protect the Republic. We're keepers of the peace, not soldiers.
You know I don't like it when you do that.
Sorry, Master. I forgot you don't like flying.
Well, you've lost him.
If you'll excuse me.
I hate it when he does that.
Anakin, don't do anything without first consulting either myself or the Council.
You don't need guidance, Anakin. I see you becoming the greatest of all Jedi.
The boy has exceptional skills.
His abilities have made him arrogant.
Excuse me. I'm in charge of security here, milady.
They are using a bounty hunter named Jango Fett to create a clone army. Wait.
We must stop them before they're ready.
Your clones are very impressive.
They'll do their job well.
Blast, that's why I hate flying.
This is a crisis.
Begun this Clone War has.
Sam, do you want to tell us when in the Star Wars timeline does this take place?
Yes, this takes place in 22 BBY, approximately 10 years after Star Wars: The Phantom Menace.
Indeed. All right, so what we've decided we'd like to do, Max, when we have guests on is, if possible, would you like to try and summarize for us the plot of Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones? You don't have to go super detailed, but just tell us from your best recollection.
Okay.
Broad strokes and highlights is really all we need.
Broad strokes and highlights. What happened in this bonkers movie?
Okay, I'm pulling out my notes. So, very beginning of the movie, it starts with like a political convoy arriving on Coruscant, right? With like Senator Amidala, Padme, and there's a very funny thing where like one of like the guards is like, "Wow, that went so great." It's like, "Wow, there was
What could
no
possibly
problems
go
at all."
wrong?
And then immediately, the most perfect comedic timing ever, the shit it cuts to it, and the half a second later, shit blows up. Padme's dead. Which was
this movie, I think, nails comedic timing better than any other
it
Star Wars
does.
movie.
I was not expecting to be as funny as it was. It's like throughout the whole thing, like it was much funnier and much quippier than like what I feel like is typical for Star Wars. It's like yeah,
or at least I feel like compared to Episode 1, definitely there's more, there's more quips, and we get a lot of like Obi-Wan and Anakin sass and banter.
Yes, there's I'll get to it later. So Padme dies. Oops, she's not. So they go inside. I completely forgot about the opening scroll. So there's like a separatist thing going on where some people want to like leave the Republic, and they're led by Dooku and a bunch of others. And then like the people who are like, "No, please don't leave. We don't want that to happen." And like Padme is like their leader deal, I think. I watched this movie the first time today. Like,
I know that's why we wanted you to summarize it.
Yeah,
it's because
it's more fun for someone who like the unexpert, as we call our guests, to do this than for us to just like rattle it off. So we love this.
And then they like go into like the meeting room. They're like, "Oh no, someone just tried to kill Padme. We got to figure this out." And then like all of like the people like with like Yoda and like
the Chancellor.
Chancellor Palpatine is there, and I was going to try and remember someone else's name, but whatever. They're like,
Plo Koon was there.
We love Plo Koon.
Okay. Oh, he's the one with the tall forehead?
No, that's Ki-Adi-Mundi.
Plo Koon's the one with the weird face mask.
Yeah, he never says anything.
I don't remember.
So
I don't remember him. Anyway. They were like, we should protect her. Let's assign some Jedi to her to like act as like bodyguards in addition to like the actual soldiers. And Chancellor Palpatine was like, I would never want a single thing to ever happen to her. And I was like, you absolutely tried to kill her. That was you. I was like, just like the line delivery. Okay, note about the line delivery. There were, for most of it, everyone was like giving absolutely nothing. It was like, go girl, give us nothing. This is like the most basic line read ever. And it was like, it was very funny to me. It's kind of a dig at the movie, but also I thought it was very funny where
you're allowed to dig at it.
Yeah. Like no one was ever like, I don't know.
People don't emote a lot in the prequels. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, did everyone and completely forgot how to act as soon as they stepped in front of a green screen for the first time, or they were just like so like disoriented by the fact that they were not on a set?
It was early days for green screen, to be fair.
Yeah.
It was one of the first 100% green screens too. So it was just, they were just in a sea of green or sea of blue and just like other people, and that was it. They just like
yeah. I mean, there's some real sets. Like I think that room that they're in is like a real set, and then probably the windows were CG. You know. But
yeah.
Anyway.
And then at this point we meet the people who are actually going to be assigned to them. We meet is Obi-Wan Kenobi, who's young and has luscious hair, and we meet Anakin Skywalker, who is younger and has awful hair.
He's got his tiny little ponytail.
He has a tiny ponytail and a rat tail, and everything else is like a clipper cut. It's like, what is this? This is horrible.
2002 is a weird time, Max.
It really was.
Yeah, I know.
Everyone was like that. You don't remember it because you were an infant, but everyone was like that.
Yeah, you can absolutely tell that this movie was made in the early 2000s by everything about it.
Anakin in this movie looks like he would be in a boy band. He's got that look to him.
But an awful knockoff boy band.
Yeah.
And then I'm just going through my notes. Anakin and Padme meet, and Padme says, wow, you've grown. And then Anakin's like, you've grown too. Grown more beautiful. Well, for a senator, I mean. Which is like a simultaneously like him trying to like not be like so forward, but also him negging her, which I thought was very funny. It's I mean, you're more beautiful for a senator, I guess. It's like, okay.
It's like, Anakin is, I think, the worst at flirting that I've ever seen any human being be.
He's like the condensed, like anxious teen edgy boy made into a single man. It's so much.
Exactly. Yes. And I was thinking about how like, yes, it's super awkward, but in a sense that kind of like makes sense for him as a character, because he spent his whole life, you know, not being allowed, being told like you can't have attachments, you can't fall in love, and you know, spending his time in a convent basically and with monks and whatever, and then suddenly he comes back to the big city and he finds his childhood crush again, and then suddenly he's like, I don't know what to do with my feelings. What are these?
Yeah, so they meet, and then they're like, okay, we'll be here to protect you. Anakin's like, I want to go find the killer, and Obi-Wan's like, no, you can't do that. We were not told to do that. And then Anakin was like, but the penumbras of what we were told, it implies, blah, blah, blah.
The penumbras, I like that.
Yes. And then they're like, okay, fine, we'll stay here. Also, at this point, I noted in like the room that Padme is staying, like on like this weird like glass coffee table in the background, there is a sculpture that I recognized.
No way.
Yeah, it's Bird in Space by Konstantin Brancusi. This one.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah,
wow.
That's a real artist that I knew because of my art classes. Thank you.
Man, I'm glad we had Max on this episode.
Absolutely, I am. Wow.
Yeah, so Brancusi is canon in Star Wars, and his art exists on the planet of Coruscant in Padme's room.
Excellent.
Yeah, there's also a couple times in these scenes where someone looks directly at the camera, like multiple times. Like, that happens a couple times in this movie.
Is it really?
Yeah, Jar Jar does it, but that's, like, as a joke. But then later on, like the way they set up, like, the conversation, like, shot, reverse shot deal, it looks like they're looking just directly into the camera. Because there's no one off camera to look at. That happens, like here, it looks like Anakin looks into the camera, and then like later on when they like arrive on Tatooine, like he looks directly into the camera as he's talking like the little buggy droid. Anyway, three times I noticed that. One of which only one of which was Jar Jar.
Which is funny with Jar Jar, they could program his eyes to look somewhere else, but they just decided to look at the camera.
Yeah, well, I feel like that was the most intentional one. Like that was the only one that was supposed to be them looking at the camera.
It was like Jim from The Office looking at the camera. Like
yeah, well, it's like he's like as he's leaving the room, he like looks at the camera and then like smiles. Then he walks away, which is very funny.
That's hilarious.
Hi, everybody, bye.
Yeah, and in that moment, I knew I was pro Jar Jar, and everyone who doesn't like him was a hater and wrong.
Excellent.
I'm with you on that one, Max. I'm with you. I agree.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pro Jar Jar.
Yeah. So after that, they have like the scene in the room, and then Padme goes to sleep under a sheet of just like velvet. I don't know, just like a single like velvet blanket on top of her, draped, and then oops, another assassination attempt. There was also like some other scenes where it looked like some Mandalorian, probably Jango Fett, was like on a rooftop with someone who's like was in charge of like, yeah, he gave her like a tube with like poisonous bugs.
Okay,
yeah.
I need to talk about this part of the movie because it is hilarious and baffling and amazing.
Okay, tell me.
This has been pointed out before elsewhere, but okay, so just to lay things out how this scene works.
Mm-hmm.
Palpatine wants Padme dead, so Palpatine says to Count Dooku, hey, can you kill Padme? And Count Dooku's like, yes. But then Dooku's like, I don't want to do it.
Wait, you're right.
So I'm going to hire a bounty hunter, Jango Fett, to kill Padme. And Jango Fett's like, yeah, I'll kill Padme. And then Jango Fett's like, but I don't want to do it myself, so I'm going to hire a changeling assassin to do it. And the changeling's like, yeah, I'll do it. But then the changeling's like, I don't want to do it, so she sends in a robot. And the robot's like, I don't want to do it, so the robot sends in the bugs. It is the longest chain of like outsourcing and middle management for assassinating this senator.
Amazing.
For it to not work.
And it doesn't work.
Yeah, it doesn't work. Just absolutely.
Yeah, they're like, we tried blowing her up, that didn't work, so now we're gonna use bugs.
Yeah. Poisonous bugs that are gonna crawl into her bed at night.
I like to think that like Palpatine eventually found out about this and was like, you outsourced someone who outsourced someone who outsourced someone who outsourced it to bugs? You tried to kill the senator with some bugs from a robot? Incredible. Anyway.
It was absolutely fantastic.
This movie is gold.
Yes, it
movie
is.
Gold.
So, bugs come in the window from the robot, from the assassin, from Jango Fett, from Dooku, from Palpatine.
Indeed.
Yeah.
And then Obi-Wan and Anakin are having like an angsty conversation out in the main room while Padme is sleeping, and they're at the same time, just as the bugs like are about to kill her, they like, do you sense it? I do. And then they run in there last minute, and then they slice the bugs with a laser sword.
Yeah, Anakin runs in, jumps on the bed, and immediately swings his lightsaber directly at Padme and manages to just barely kill the bugs.
Yeah. One of them was on the pillow next to her face, the other was on her shoulder.
And he kills both of them with one strike.
Yeah, if that was me laying down, I would have moved at all, and I would be dead. And the assassination attempt would have worked.
The bugs would have outsourced it to Anakin.
Yeah. Amazing. That's incredible.
So Anakin kills the bugs, and then they both see, oh my goodness, there's the droid out the window. Obi-Wan jumps out the window.
So much fun. I love this scene. I love this scene.
No hesitation, he just runs, dives through the window, and grabs onto this droid. And like they're like 8,000 stories up. And he's just like, yeah, I'll do that.
Like, looks like I'm gonna have to jump. Just
Yeah.
Yeah, that was some Danger-esque right there.
Yeah. So while Obi-Wan's jumping out of a window, Anakin goes downstairs to get a car, which it's like this yellow like space Corvette thing, and at first it makes car noises. It like makes like real engine noises the first few seconds, but then there's like a big chase sequence around the city, and for the rest of it, it makes like space machine like noises, make a kind of sound.
Jetsons noises.
Yeah, it makes Jetson noises. Yeah. So for the rest of the chase sequence that happens of them like flying throughout the city with like Obi-Wan holding onto the droid and then falling off into the car, and then the car like flying all throughout the city. Every time there's like a kind of like them like banking the turn kind of shot or whatever, like it's punctuated by a sound.
Yeah. Weird space age Doppler effect situation. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a very fun chase sequence. At some point, Anakin's driving the car, and he's like, we're going to take a shortcut. And then it was like, oop, I don't know if that was actually a shortcut. So they could like get in front of it and intercept. And then they're like sitting at the middle of like the space intersection. And they're like, ugh, we lost him. And then Anakin's like, you know what? I'm jumping out of the car. And then he like...
It's the most random thing.
Yeah, like he doesn't like telegraph that he knows that the guy is going to be down below. So he just like jumps, and Anakin's like, I hate when he does this. As if this is a thing he's done.
Yeah, Obi-Wan, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Obi-Wan, yeah. And then he does land on like the spaceship of the assassin. They've lost the robot at this point. And then he's like doing like wild maneuvers on like this moving car thing. And there's a very fun shot where like he's like this got like two like prongs in the front, and he's like holding on to one side of it. And he like jumps from one side to the other, like, which was very cool. I like that.
Very acrobatic.
Yes. Yeah. And then the car crashes, and the changeling assassin runs away, and they lose them in the crowd for a bit. And then they go into this club. It's like, it seems it's like a sports bar, because in one of the first shots, in one of the first shots, there's like droids playing football or something on one of the screens.
Yeah, one of the screens has droids playing soccer or something, and then another one of the screens has pod racing on it. And yeah, it's a sports bar, definitely.
Yeah, and then so Obi-Wan's like, you go look for them. I'm gonna get a drink. So he goes to the bar and starts drinking, and then that is where we get the guy who tries to sell him death sticks.
Today's sponsor.
Yeah,
Today's
our sponsor. Thank you.
Sponsored by
Thank you,
Death Sticks. Thank you, Death Sticks, for sponsoring our show.
Yeah, Obi-Wan unfortunately tells him to. He just forced like suggestion the guy, and he's like, "You should go rethink your life." And the guy's like, "I should go rethink my life," as if that's like a solution to the problem. I thought it was very funny. It was like, don't you think there's like a reason this guy is like out like just like going to like random bars trying to sell drugs to strangers? I don't know. It's like that. He's like, that's treated as like, and now he's done. He's cured. He's not going to sell drugs anymore. It was like, great. Thanks, Obi-Wan. And they catch the assassin. I think while they're still in the bar. And then they go out and they're like, tell us who hired you. And then just as the changeling person is about to like tell them, they're shot with a poison dart in the neck and then die after like CG morphing into like a frog creature.
It was very, very Animorphs.
Yeah, very Animorphs.
Yeah, before we move on from the club bit, I want to bring up a couple things. One is we get our first loss of limb in this scene when Obi-Wan cuts off the arm or the hand of the assassin.
Zam Wessel is the name of the assassin.
Zam Wessel.
Zam Wessel. Love that.
Indeed. The other thing is, if I don't know if either of you noticed this, but there are two significant cameos during the bar scene when they're walking around. There's a couple people in the background. No. One of them is Anthony Daniels. You can see him in the background of a couple shots.
Oh.
Anthony Daniels is the actor who plays C-3PO. That's cool.
Love.
And then the other guy you see is Ahmed Best. Is in this scene.
No way.
Oh yeah.
Just as himself. I mean, not as himself. As a that character has like a name.
I think it's Ahmed Beck,
Yeah, it's something
which
like that,
which is canonically Kelleran Beck's like brother or cousin or something.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I thought that was a joke, but you were like actually serious.
No, yeah. Yeah, I learned this on my deep dive of Kelleran Beck when he showed up on Mandalorian.
I was very proud of myself for for noticing, like, because he's only in like a 2 or 3 second shot, like standing at a table, and I'm like, is that Ahmed Best? And it was, because I looked it up and I was like, oh yeah, he did it. I found it.
I forgot to mention at the beginning of the movie we had a Wilhelm scream.
We did?
Yes, that's where the Wilhelm scream was. Yeah.
Yeah.
During the explosion?
I had to look that up afterwards because I didn't notice. Yes.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Wilhelm scream. It was like an edited, distorted Wilhelm scream. It was definitely a Wilhelm scream when the ship blows up in the first scene of the movie.
I love that.
Yeah,
It's the best shot in the movie. It also has a Wilhelm
the
scream.
funniest shot in the movie. Yeah. After I watched this movie, I was like, I don't remember hearing a Wilhelm scream, so I looked it up, and luckily Wikipedia has a list of all of the Wilhelm screams in Star Wars. And
That's so fun.
That's the one in Attack of the Clones is at the beginning and during the explosion.
Beautiful.
We also get our I think it's our first kill. No, sorry. I mean, like, the first kill by like a major character, because Jango Fett assassinates the assassin.
Yeah.
So that's one kill for Jango.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Django.
Thank you, Jango.
You did it. Okay, Max, what's next?
Next, I don't have notes for this section, I think. Anyway, they go back to the Jedi Council and is like, hey, so we tried to get the person that was trying to kill her, and they got by the person who delegated to try to kill Padme. And they're like, maybe we should have her go back home. So there's some, like, bureaucracy about it. And then Padme leaves, along with Anakin, back to Naboo, her home planet.
Nothing bad could happen there.
Absolutely nothing.
Nothing bad could happen. With Anakin and Padme alone on, like, the most romantic planet in the galaxy, nothing's gonna happen.
Yeah, surrounded by sconces full of flowers and, like, gorgeous idyllic meadows with waterfalls in the background.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing could happen. Also, at this point, I start noticing all of Padme's costume changes, and, like, there's so many. There's so many costume changes. And, like, she is the only character to ever, like, have packed multiple outfits to anywhere. So, like, the first outfit, as she's, like, trying to, like, sneakily leave Coruscant for Naboo, she has this, like, big, like, metal headdress on top of, like, a cloth, like, scarf.
Yeah. Very subtle. Very subtle.
Yeah, I was like, it's like, yeah, this is her stealthy headdress, her stealthy metal headdress with intricate patterns embossed onto every square inch of its surface. Yeah, and also Anakin's disguise is that he has, like, a dirty bedsheet draped over his normal outfit.
That's the Jedi way.
It's your classic Star Wars poncho.
Yeah.
Poncho.
It's very, it was quite the sight to just see them right next to each other.
Yeah.
The little note that I made on my picture of that is, this is what every straight couple looks like.
Incredible. I like how in that picture that you took note on, it's them standing 4 feet apart from each other with no expression on their faces.
Yeah. It's like
Romance.
Romance. She's dressed up to the nines for escaping the planet, and he's wearing a poncho and has a rat tail.
Alright, so they split up. So they go to Naboo, and then Obi-Wan goes on his own adventure, right?
Yeah. So his adventure is to try to find the planet of Camino, which he was told was the origin of the poison dart that was shot at the assassin by an old friend of his, I guess, who works at a 50s diner.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Dexter Jetster.
Dexter Jetster, my favorite character in the movie. I'm just going to say his name. MVP. Dexter Jetster.
Dexter Jetster, yeah.
That's amazing. I love that.
He owns the diner. Which I love that it's just a 50s diner that has a robot waiter, and that's it.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, I vote Dex for MVP just because he's the best.
Yeah. By the way, this I don't know what his species is. Dexter Jester's species, but he the only other like major character I know of who is that species is Pong Krell in the Clone Wars, and he has.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, they're the same species, right? And
I never put that together.
Anyway, yeah, that's one of my favorite arcs in the Clone Wars is the arc with Pong Krell, who's a Jedi general with 4 lightsabers at once because he's got 4 arms. It's very good, very very great arc. So we'll get there eventually, and I'll gush about it then.
Yeah, Pong Krell is also the literal worst.
Yes, he's the literal worst, and it's also like it's a great demonstration of like, yeah, wow, the Jedi Order really is corrupt, and people are just like, anyway,
the clones really shine in that arc for sure.
Definitely, yeah.
So Kamino.
Kamino. So he first goes to the guy in the 50s diner, Dexter Jester, and then he's like, this looks like comes from Kamino. And then he goes to the Jedi archives, this big fancy library looking place, and he's like, hey, there's supposed to be a planet here on this map, to like one of the librarians. And she's like, if it's not there, it's not real. And she's like, okay, that's presumptuous that you know everything.
I love that moment, because it's just like it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, man, the Jedi really are super arrogant and like, like they're like, if we don't know about it, it literally doesn't exist.
Yeah, that was wild to me. I was like,
it's incredible.
Spilled my water. It's fine.
That's Jocasta Nu, the librarian of the.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, so she was like, I think you're lying, and there's not actually a planet there, even though you said there is. And so he then goes to Yoda, who's training children with swords. And so Yoda's like, okay, he tells one of the children to like put down the shades and we'll look at the map. And Obi-Wan like puts the map up in the room. It's all like fun projection stuff. And he's like, tells all of the children and Yoda, it's like, there's supposed to be a planet in this spot right here. And like everything points to there being something, like all of like the gravity wells and whatever, like all of like the stars and whatnot, like points to there being something there. But the librarian at the Jedi Archives was like, there can't be something there. And like Yoda like prompts the children, I think, to like say like, so what do we think is going on? And one of the children was like, well, someone must have erased it. Someone must have deleted it from the archives. And Obi-Wan's like, well, that's not possible. And the librarian told me so. And I'm like, at this point, I'm like, Obi-Wan, you what?
You're smarter
you know
than
that
this,
something's
man.
up. Yeah, you should have put that together. You saw that the gravity, whatever, was pointing to something being there. And the person that you trust told you that there was a planet there. And it took a child telling you to actually believe it. Anyway.
To be fair, like, I think the idea is that, like, the Jedi archives are very well protected and only a Jedi Master can actually do anything to, like, edit the archives. So the fact that something was deleted would mean that it would have to be a Jedi Master, which is why it's kind of like, they're like, it can't be that, right? Because that would mean that there's, like, dissent within our ranks that's, you know, so, you know, it's still them being ignorant, but just in a different way is all.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like at this point, like, Count Dooku's, like, all the everything, him turning and leaving the Jedi Order has, like, happened, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so, like, I don't know. I feel like
that should... It happened 10 years ago.
Yeah, I feel like that should be, like, a known, set, done deal. They're like, maybe we shouldn't trust our ranks to be, like, perfect and aligned in every way at this point. Mm-hmm. Anyway.
Yeah. You would think. And yet, here we are.
Would think.
Yeah.
I want to... Something I love about this scene with Yoda and the younglings is we like in the prequels we mostly get like kind of wise, tired, stoic Yoda. You know, he's not like he's not the silly fun Yoda we get in Empire. But there's one moment in this scene with the younglings when Obi-Wan comes in, he's like, I'm trying to find a planet, but it's not in the archives. And Yoda goes, lost a planet Obi-Wan has. How embarrassing. How embarrassing. And all the kids laugh. And I'm like,
that was very funny.
How embarrassing.
How embarrassing.
Like, yes, we got some sassy, funny Yoda for a second there. That was great. Mm-hmm. And all the kids laugh. It's great.
Mm-hmm. As they should.
All right, so continuing on the Kamino plot thread, this is happening all at the same time as like the other plot thread we'll get into later, I guess. So he goes to Kamino. It's like this big wet planet where it's like raining all the time. And like he lands, he goes inside. There's this incredibly tall person with a very long neck who's like, "Oh, Jedi Master, welcome in. We've been expecting you." And Obi-Wan's like, "Oh, you've been expecting me." And he kind of like plays into like the thing what the people are saying, because he's not expecting this, but he kind of wants to just find out what's going on.
He's like, yeah, I totally knew I was expected.
That's why I'm here, right? Yeah. Oh, yeah, I knew that, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So he's brought into like this big white room, sit in these big like floaty chairs that descend from the ceiling, and then a big long neck person. Well, there's a different big long neck person than the one who meets him at the door, who's like the person in charge. I don't remember the name.
It's Lama Su.
Lama Su, yes.
Yeah, Lama Su is the senator, and then Ton Wei is the other character.
It was the prime minister, right? Ton Wei's
prime minister, not senator. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they come into the chairs descend from the ceiling, and Lama Su is like, "So our clone army's coming great. I'm sure you want to see how that's going." And he's like, everyone's like, "Oh, clone army," and he was like, "So who like commissioned this clone army for us, the Jedi Order?" And Lama Su was like, "Name? I don't remember the name either."
Sifo Dyas.
Yeah, Sifo Dyas.
Yeah.
And Obi-Wan's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. He died 10 years ago." And Lama Su's like, "Oh, okay. Well, anyway, do you want to see the army?" And and Obi-Wan's like, "Okay, sure, I'll see the army." And then they go on like a fun little factory tour of a bunch of little test tubes and big giant conveyor belts and very well lit bright white and blue chambers. And Lama Su's like, "Yeah, so here's like all the babies we're making." So they were made from this person who was provided to us, Jango Fett. And but we altered them so that they would be more like obedient, and they would also age faster. So there's like a few shots of like a bunch of like identical like children, and then like adult men like sitting at tables and like eating lunch and like taking classes, and they're all the same guy. And Obi-Wan was like, "Okay, cool. So can I meet the person who like you modeled these after?" And Lama Su's like, "Sure, well, let's go meet him." And then they go meet Jango Fett.
I like that Obi-Wan's like, "Where is this guy?" And Lama Su's like, "Oh, we keep him here." He lives here.
He's just chilling. He's got a little apartment in the back. Yeah, they go meet him. It's like super high tension. Jango Fett also has another clone of himself, unaltered, who's a young child that he like requested from them, and they were like, "Sure, we'll give that to you." Who is Boba Fett? I didn't know that he was a clone of Jango Fett.
Yeah, Boba T Fett.
Boba T Fett. Yeah. So they meet. Jango Fett's like super like, "I'm not gonna tell you anything," but being like super polite about it. And at one point, he like talks to Boba Fett in like some other language, and like Boba Fett is like, "Okay, I'll go do that for you," and he like goes to like close the door that hides his Mandalorian armor, and then the conversation ends, and then Obi-Wan leaves. And he's like, "Great, I'll make sure to tell everyone about what's happening here and how great it's going." Obi-Wan goes out back to his ship that's on like the landing pad out in the pouring rain, wearing his gigantic like coat. He's wearing a very large, very heavy looking like Jedi robe, and he's just standing in the rain for like several minutes as he tries to make this call back to Coruscant, being like, "Hey, there's like a whole army being made for us supposedly." And he's like told like, "Okay, maybe you should bring back Jango Fett." So he like goes back in to capture him. They fight a bit on like rooftops. They almost fall into the ocean. And then Jango Fett and Boba Fett leave in Jango Fett's like face-shaped spaceship and they like leave.
He does have a face on the back.
Yeah, it's very face shaped. His like I saw it like in one of like the episodes of The Mandalorian, because I'm also still watching that, trying to catch up. I've not finished season 2 yet, and like I immediately was like, why is it face shaped? Why is it like facing forward like like Andros from Star Fox?
He's like Andros.
He's Andros.
I was gonna say it looks kind of like a Lego Man face. Like,
oh
it's
yeah,
just like the
too.
dot
Yeah.
and the line. Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking Shy Guy, like from Mario.
Oh yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they fly away. Before they're able to get away, Obi-Wan throws a like tracking device onto their ship and magnetizes it, bleep, and it opens up, and he's able to follow them to the planet that they go to, which is called, it starts with a G.
Geonosis.
Geonosis. Yes.
The Book of Geonosis.
Yes. Oh, there's a very fun like chase sequence, another chase sequence through like an asteroid field after they come out of hyperdrive, and you like Jango Fett realizes like, oh no, we've been followed, and there is an awkwardly long sequence during that chase sequence. There's no music. No music. There's just the sound effects of like the ships flying and like the bombs that the Jango Fett's throwing out of his ship like exploding.
The seismic charges.
Yeah.
Yes, those are very
so
cool.
So cool.
Yeah, there's like a very fun effect that they do where like it like impacts and then like it explodes and there's a big like disc that comes out, and that's when the noise happens. And it's very cool.
They completely silence all the sounds in the movie in the like half second before the seismic charge goes off. It's like there's no sound.
That's very fun. Yeah. Yeah. So chase sequence, seismic charges, then
they think they've blown up Obi-Wan.
Yeah. They think they blew up Obi-Wan, and then they like land on Geonosis, and then like he's like hiding behind an asteroid, and he like follows them, and then he sees when he lands, he like sneaks into like this place where like all of like, the separatists led by Dooku are like having a spooky evil meeting, where they're like, we have our droid army. And I think at this point is the second time when Obi-Wan like stumbles across a large inhuman army being created. Is that now or later?
Yeah. Well, Obi-Wan doesn't stumble across the army. Anakin finds the army. Anakin and Padme find it later. They're gonna rescue him.
Oh,
like in the factory. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. For some reason I thought that.
I could be wrong. Jack, do you remember?
No, I think that's right.
Okay. Anyway.
Although, to be fair, Obi-Wan does have a thing for just randomly discovering armies. Like, he discovers the droid army in episode 1, and then this time he, like, walks into Camino, and they're like, hey, we have an army here. And he's like, okay.
He also discovers the Death Star.
Well, he doesn't discover it, though. He doesn't, like, see it. Like, it's in the room. Like, you can see the hologram of it, but I don't think Obi-Wan sees it.
No, like in episode 4. He's like, that's
no moon moment.
Oh, yes. Gotcha.
Yeah.
True.
That's one of his Jedi abilities, discover army.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Special ability.
Is that the end of the his like story before they like start meeting up?
He gets captured and then sends off a message, and then we catch up with him after the message has been received.
Yeah. Yeah, he sends a message, he gets captured by one of the bug guys, and then oh no, he's been caught. Meanwhile, other storyline that's happening, this has all happened, like, it just spliced in between that Anakin and Padme are off to Naboo. Like, they have, like, a meeting with, like, the government people of Naboo about, like, hey, what do we do? Well, let's just, like, keep her here. And then they go off to, like, this idyllic villa in the gorgeous countryside where they start falling in love. In this section, Padme has like another one of her really funky wigs, where it's like a big like ammonite shell on the back of her head, which is very fun. Yeah. Oh, I forgot, like one of the other wigs that she had was, it looked like two big puka shells on either side of her head. Like as they're, that's like as like Padme's like packing up all her stuff, all her 10,000 outfits for the rest of the movie into her 3 suitcases for them to like refugee away. There's like, I think, literally 3 visible suitcases, and she packs like 10,000 wigs and 12 outfit changes for like the next 4 days.
The life of a refugee.
Yeah, so they arrive on Naboo, and they get to the villa, and this is where he says the line. He says the line, and as the line, I hate sand. It's so coarse and rough and gets everywhere.
That's it.
And I was so excited when I finally got to it.
Yeah.
He said the thing.
He said the thing.
Yeah. And that's him flirting for some reason.
I know.
I don't know.
And it worked?
Yeah.
Apparently?
Yeah, she's like, she says, I love water, and he says, I hate sand. I'm just like, okay, that's some fun flirting.
It's because like she was
kiss.
talking about how they would lie on the beach, like, as kids on Naboo. So like, it wasn't like it wasn't just like, you know what, you love water, but I hate sand. There was a little more of a through line there. But
yeah, but it still feels very strange.
Oh yeah, no, it's crazy. It's awful.
Mm-hmm.
So this is like Sarah's favorite part of the movie too. Is this like scene, and apparently she told me this as I was like getting ready to watch it, that the dress that Padme is wearing in this scene, she almost got like a white version as a wedding. Yeah, like it's kind of like a blue, kind of like blended down to yellow. Yeah, that one. Yeah, that was almost her wedding dress, but like white. But like literally, and like because Padme was wearing it, like she and her sister rewatched this movie. Like they had episode 2 on repeat because they loved Padme's outfits. Like that was it. That was just like their favorite part.
There are so many very good outfits. So many outfits,
and they loved it. And like Sarah literally wanted her wedding dress to be Padme's outfit from this scene for her wedding dress. But it's just like literally, it wouldn't get delivered soon enough. She almost had it for the wedding. But
that would have been so lovely, though.
I mean,
it would have been great. But then, it would have been great. And then Sam could have had a rat tail.
I could have. I was so close.
So close. And a tiny ponytail in the back.
And just a little.
Yeah. Anyway, they kiss, and then Padme's like, no, we shan't. This is forbidden because you are a Jedi. And Jedis are like priests, where you can't fall in love. That's a part of Jedi, like, lore that I've never really gotten. It's like, that's weird. I don't know.
It is weird.
They kiss, she's like, no, we shan't. And then the next scene I think we get of them is like them lying in the massive, like gorgeous field with gigantic, gorgeous waterfalls in the background.
There's
like,
so many beautiful locales on Naboo. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and meanwhile there are these very large, like tapir, like cow pig things with like very big butts, just like that look like big teardrops.
Yep.
On their side, it's very goofy.
Yeah, science got together. It's like, what is the most scientifically ugly thing we could think of? Just put in this prettiest place on the planet, and that's what they came up with.
Mm-hmm. They're very goofy.
Very Star Wars. We love it.
Mm-hmm. And while they're in like this very idyllic thing, like they're talking about government or whatever, and she's like, my democracy is good, and he's like, democracy is good, but I think we should force everyone to agree. Yeah. And she's like, that sounds like a dictatorship, and he's like, well, if it works. And she makes kind of like a face, and then he tries to laugh it off, and it like eases the tension, but that's still a weird thing to happen.
Yeah, like Padme, there's so many red flags here you're ignoring. You're just like, like if he jokes, if he says something seriously and then pretend that he's joking about it, but the thing he's talking about is like fascist, maybe consider.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
let's rethink. Later on, there's a scene of them like eating dinner like across like one of those massive dining tables, and Padme goes to eat like a whole pear with a fork and knife, which I thought was very funny, and then Anakin like the Force grabs it across the table and cuts it in half for her and gives only half of it back. And it's just kind of like a little like jokey, like, haha, I have Force powers. Isn't that fun and quirky? And then it was like, that's strange. That's it for that day. And then they go to sleep, and Anakin has a fitful night, dreaming of his mother in pain. And he wakes up in the morning, he's like, has like a power stance, like while staring out over this colonnade overlooking the gorgeous whatever. And like Padme comes in and was like, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt with you like brooding on this fine morning.
Yeah. If Anakin Skywalker's anything, he is dramatic. Dramatic.
And he's like, I need to go find my mom now. And then she's like, okay, let's go to Tatooine then. And they go to Tatooine.
I do want to mention one thing, is that there's a scene in there when they're on Naboo, when they're like kind of talking about the fact that they're in love, and that like Anakin's like, I can't control my feelings and whatever, you know. And Padme's like, we can't, because then we have to live a lie, and we can't do that. But this scene has one of my favorite lines from this movie is when Anakin says, I wish I could wish away my feelings about you. I wish I could wish away my feelings. I was like, good.
High quality writing. We love it. We love it. I saw someone posted like a prequel meme online. It was like, there's a reason that the dialogue in the prequels is so bad. It's because it was translated from Galactic Basic to English, and so we're just getting the dub of what actually happened.
We're just getting the dub. Incredible.
Yeah, there was lots of jokes that didn't translate well, and the translators, they were just like, not. They really like
don't make me do this.
Yeah, it's like there's not a word that means the thing that he meant to say, so they just said sand instead. And
yeah. So they go to Tatooine. They go to like the guy from episode 1 who's like has like a floppy pig nose and wings, and he was like, oh my goodness, Anakin, sorry I sold your mother to someone else. Actually, I don't have her anymore.
Yeah, business is business.
Business is business.
Yeah,
sorry, I sold your mother.
Thanks, Watto.
Little Annie?
Yeah.
Is that you, little Annie?
Yeah,
Is
I
that
thought
Annie?
it was like just astonishing, the fact that like when he finds out that this is Anakin, that Anakin's a Jedi now, he's like, hey, you know, maybe you could help me get some of these people around here to pay me money they owe me. And I'm like, you enslaved him. Do you think he would help you? It's like,
that's a bit much.
And don't act like this man owes you favors.
like, what the heck, man? Yeah.
They meet Watto. He tells them, I sold your mother. Guy lives out there on the moisture farm. And so they go out to the moisture farm where her mother was sold. And surprise, surprise, she's not there. She was actually kidnapped like a month ago. And the guy who like bought her and married her, which that's weird.
It was true love, Max. It's okay.
Okay, I don't. Okay,
It's not a weird power thing at all. There's no power imbalance in this relationship. What are you talking about?
So they arrive at the thing. They meet Owen, who is the Uncle Owen from episode 4, which is like, oh wow, I was not expecting to meet them in this movie. So that was a very fun little thing. But he introduces his girlfriend, which is, there was nothing like innately like weird about it. I was like, girlfriend is not a word that exists in Star Wars to me.
I get what you mean. Yeah, that is weird.
It was an incredibly normal modern word that just like.
Yeah. I wonder if there is any other instance of girlfriend in Star Wars, because I can't think of any.
Yeah, it was like, that was just very strange to me.
Yeah, I agree.
Owen's like, hey, here's my dad who bought your mom. Then Owen's dad, who is now Anakin's stepdad, is like, so sorry, your mom got kidnapped by like the sand people, right? Like a month ago. And we tried to find her, but like so many people died trying to get her. And I lost my leg.
And I lost my leg. Yeah.
Yeah, which is why I'm in this hover wheelchair. And then Anakin's like, but we gotta go save her. And he's angsty about that a bit. And then he goes out in the middle of the night to the place where she was taken. Just like a little.
I love that he just steals his stepdad's dirt bike and just goes out into the desert.
He borrows it.
Yeah.
He didn't like take it and then leave it there. He borrowed it.
Oh yeah. But I don't imagine he asked for it. I think he just took it.
Yeah, well, he's going to save his mom and his wife, so it's not like, I don't think he would have.
He is definitely going to save his mom.
For sure.
There's this I want to point out during this sequence when he's like riding on the speeder bike across the Tatooine desert, and you see the the twin suns in the background. It's one of my favorite moments in like visually one of my favorite moments in all of Star Wars. I think it's a beautiful shot of him riding across the desert. And also what I don't think I noticed before, or at least I didn't remember, is that during that sequence, during that shot, they're playing Duel of the Fates from episode 1.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't pick up on that.
Yeah. Then he arrives at like the camp where the sand people are, and he like cuts open one of the tents with his lightsaber and goes inside and sees his mom like tied up by her wrists, unconscious, and like covered in scars and whatnot, and like open wounds. And like as he's like untying her, she wakes up. He's like, "Oh my goodness, Anakin? Oh my goodness, it's you, Anakin. I love you." And she's like very obviously like very tired because she's been abused and whatnot by these people. And they have like a very lovely, touching reunion. And then she dies in his arms just as she's saying, "I love."
Yeah.
And then she, like,
You love what?
She goes
what
lamp.
do you love?
We'll never know.
Yeah. Never know.
Yeah, it's a what? What is it?
And then after having his mother die in his arms, after just finding her after so many years, he gets out of the tent, very angry, and starts just hacking and slashing all of these poor people, and just going at it, going ham, going bananas.
Goes ham, indeed.
It like cuts away, and then the next we see of him, he's like back at the farm and he's like in a room, like being very angry, trying like waxing about, "I wish I could fix things. I wish things were as simple as working with machines." And he tells Padme that in his anger at his mother dying, he killed them all, not just the men, but the women and children too. Which is the other line that I know is like this thing.
And Padme's response to this is to be like, "It's natural to be angry." And not like, "I'm sorry, you massacred a village of people."
Yeah.
You're dating a fascist school shooter. Like, what is going on here?
There's some pretty big red flags here, Padme.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Padme is like, hey, it's okay. We can fix this. Maybe you can be nice and a Jedi and a good person still. And then they have a funeral for his mom, and Padme's wearing a new outfit. She's wearing white to a funeral, a different outfit than the scene prior. Her hair is done differently. And there's like, she chose to wear that to a funeral. Anyway, and then they get the message from Obi-Wan, the one who was like trying to like get to Coruscant but couldn't. But so he like tried like, "Hey, I'll send it to Naboo." Wait, they're not on Naboo. So he sends it to where they are, which is Tatooine. And he's like, "Hey, I need you to send this back again to Coruscant so that they can get people to like counteract the separatists and like stop their droid army." And Mace Windu says, "Stay where you are. That is a strict order." And Anakin's like, "I want to go so bad, blah." And
yeah, except for once, Anakin is the one who like wants to follow orders, and he's like, "No, they told me to stay here, so I'm gonna stay here." And then Padme's like, "Well, I'm going, so either you can stay here or you can come with me."
Yeah, and she says, "Well, you were also given strict orders to protect me," which is why he's allows himself to go, because she was the one who initiated it.
They're both rascals who like breaking rules on technicalities.
Yeah, they are enablers through and through.
Yeah, they're perfect for each other.
Okay, I don't have very many notes for this section. They go to Geonosis.
Basically, just shoot them up from here on out.
Yeah, lots of shoot 'em ups. They get caught, and then they're taken into like a big like gladiator arena.
We skipped over a whole sequence with in the factory, like with the
there was also the
factory and
yes,
and R2D2 flies.
Yeah, they go there.
It's fun.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like there were probably other cases where R2D2 flying would have been useful, but he just did it this one time.
This one time in the droid factory.
Yep.
To save Padme from molten metal.
Indeed.
And there was a moment where I was like so sure that we were getting a hand loss when Anakin's like hand gets like caught under like the metal press.
Yep.
But no, he's just stuck. Like the metal just like formed to his arm shape and did not crush it, which is like okay,
convenient. Yeah. His lightsaber does get chopped though.
It does, and then like when his lightsaber gets chopped, is like ugh. And Obi-Wan's gonna kill me. It's like there are more pressing things. We're still on the death conveyor belt. Like there are still large blades coming down.
Yeah.
And then that's when they get captured, and then they're taken to the gladiator arena. And then there's like a scene of them where like Padme confesses to Anakin, we're like, "I love you," and Anakin's like, "What are you doing? I thought we were gonna live a lie. We were just gonna like keep that secret and not actually do anything about those feelings." And Padme was like, "Well, we're gonna die anyway." So and
yeah.
And Anakin was like, "Oh, okay, all right, I'll let this happen." And then they are brought into the gladiator arena, and then there's a bunch of like the bug people all in the stands, and like Count Dooku's in like one of like the little boxes where the important guys sit. With a bunch of the other like leaders of like the bad guys.
It's got box seats, yeah.
Yeah, and they all get chained up to the pillar alongside Obi-Wan, and Obi-Wan's like, "Oh, I wasn't sure you got my message," and Anakin says, "Yeah, we did, and then we decided to come rescue you," and then he like looks up at his handcuffed hands and says, "Good job."
That's some
very
A-tier Obi-Wan sass right there. It was a great moment.
Good job.
Good job.
Good job. Yeah, and then Gladiator Deathmatch starts. They bring out a bunch of weird beasts. There's like one that's like a big like praying mantis looking thing. There's a big like 3-horned rhino deal. And then there's one that's kind of like a weird like thing with like a super wide mouth. And the first thing that I saw when
it's like a kitty cat.
Yeah, it's like a big weird cat with a gigantic mouth. And the first thing I thought of when I saw that was like, that looks like the monster from Tinkerbell and the Legend of the Never Beast. It looks like that.
What?
The Never Beast.
Okay. I wouldn't know, but I'll take your word for it.
I promise it does. It's like got it's got the same like black and white color scheme. See, there's the Never Beast.
I see it.
Okay.
And then there's the monster. You can't probably can't see
Listeners, you can't see this, but yeah, just Google it.
Yeah, Never Beast, all one word, capital N, capital B.
Huh.
Or yes.
Love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's some fight scene breaks out. The monsters come out. They start attacking. There was another like just before everything starts. Anakin says like it's like, "Oh, I need to protect Padme" or whatever, and Obi-Wan, who's like looking at Anakin and like Padme's behind Anakin, he says, "Oh, it looks like she's on top of things," and it cuts to her on top of the pillar that she's just scaled.
Yeah, I love that we get like all three of them are able to like escape in different ways. So Padme picks the lock on her.
I think with a hairpin.
Yeah, she has like a hairpin or something.
With one of her many wigs.
Yeah, for her 10,000 wigs, she pulls out a little bobby pin from her little utility belt and like puts it in her mouth.
Yeah, and then Obi-Wan just like dodges in the right way so that the big praying mantis crab thing like stabs through his chains and he's able to like get free. And then Anakin, like the big bull thing, the big like rhinoceros whatever dinosaur thing, charges him and he just like jumps and does a flip and
his 30-foot vertical leap.
Yeah, 30-foot vertical leap. Yeah, he like leaps onto the thing and then uses the thing's strength to like break the chains. So it's like we've got like it's like not only was there one way to get free, there were multiple ways to get free. It's like, you could have planned this a little better, Dooku, and bug people.
The entire time during this fight, I was just thinking, why don't they just use the Force to like pick these things up off the ground so they can't charge them? Like, why don't they just like lift the animals and like throw them away. I was just like, why don't we just?
Wouldn't be as fun as a fight scene to watch.
You're correct. True. I mean, I know the reason that they did this way rather than that, but it was just. Like,
I also think that like the like kind of power levels of the Force are very different from movie to movie and from like scene to scene. Like sometimes you'll be like, there'll be a Jedi who can like lift up an entire like crash an entire ship or something, and then other times it's like picking up your lightsaber from across the room takes a lot of effort or something. It's like it's not super consistent, but
it's very much as the story needs it.
Yeah.
So fight scene, they're fighting the animals. At one point, Anakin has a fun little horse girl moment where he like holds his hands out to stop the rhino thing so he can get on and ride it. And then they're all riding it, and Count Dooku and the other people are like, "This isn't how it was supposed to happen."
Yeah, Dooku's like, "Don't worry, they'll die. Don't worry." And then like a bunch of droids come in after they're like beating the monsters, basically.
Yeah, droids come in, and then they're fighting them off, not doing so great. And then there's a bunch of like, memory's getting fuzzy.
They just appear.
Yeah,
like, we don't know where they come from.
So
they just see their lightsabers light up.
Yes. So what happens is like it looks like that they're like in a pretty bad spot, and then Mace Windu walks in through the hallway behind Dooku and Newt Gunray and stuff, and and he pulls out his lightsaber and puts it to Jango Fett's neck, and he's talking to Dooku, and he goes, "This party's over." Which, like, finally Mace Windu gets something cool to say instead of just being like a boring stick in the mud. So that happens, and then a bunch of Jedi show up from all around the arena, and they jump in, and then there's like a big fight between them and the droids, and then a bunch of the Jedi die, and then they're like surrounded, and that's the point when they're like, when Padme's like, "Look," and they look up, and the clone army's there.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, also during the fight scene in the thing, in the arena, is when Mace Windu chops off Jango Fett's head in front of his son.
Jango Fett's head gets cut off.
Yeah. Mace Windu gets another kill. So there's that.
And Jango Fett gets another kill before that when he's like up on the balcony and there's a Jedi and he shoots the Jedi and the Jedi falls off the balcony, and then he does a cool thing where he just like he takes the gun and like whips it around and then puts it back in his holster.
Yeah, very gunslinger
sound effects. Yeah. That was fun.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, but then he loses his head and he dies.
Okay, what happens next?
So at that point it's like the all the clones come in and the clones basically take the remaining Jedi and like fly out of there, and then they're kind of like out on they're outside the arena and out in kind of the fields, and that's when like kind of the huge battle starts, and there's a bunch of like all the clones and all the droids are fighting, and
there's the big circle tanks, which I like.
Those are so cool.
Yes. Yeah,
like rocket launchers on scooters.
Yep,
and we got like the big old spider things with like the like four-legged spiders. It's like got this big old sphere head with like a nose that's a cannon.
Yeah, it's very like Pinocchio.
It is.
Yeah,
it's like Pinocchio meets like a mosquito.
Yeah. So a bunch of fighting and shooting and stuff happens, and Obi-Wan and Anakin and Padme are all on a ship together, and they're like chasing Count Dooku, and then the ship gets hit for a second, and Padme falls out onto the sand below, and Anakin's like, "No, she fell on the sand. God, I hate that." and he's like, "We land the ship, land it now." And Obi-Wan's like, "No, we gotta go kill Dooku. I can't kill him by myself. You gotta help me." And Anakin's like, but Padme. And Obi-Wan's like, "Okay, but what would Padme do?" And he's like, "I guess she'd do her duty." God. And then they go and chase after Dooku.
Yeah. So they get to like destination. They arrive at the Dooku fight. It's Obi-Wan and Anakin immediately gets Force lightning blasted because he did not want to listen to Obi-Wan and like wait and do their coordinated plan, and just rushes in. And then he's out for the count for most of the fight while Obi-Wan is just having a very good like lightsaber duel with Count Dooku.
Obi-Wan gets injured and like gets falls on the ground.
Yeah. He gets like his arms like cut and falls down.
Oh yeah. He got his arm gets his arm and his back. And his leg gets injured.
Yeah. And then at this point, I think like Anakin,
he very conveniently wakes back up the moment Obi-Wan passes out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Obi-Wan like tosses him his lightsaber, and so then Anakin is dual wielding lightsabers against Dooku, and it's super cool.
Yeah.
Until he gets his arm chopped off.
Until he gets his arm chopped off.
He does get his arm chopped off. Arm chopped off. That's 2 for this movie?
That is 2 limbs.
Yes.
We don't count heads, do we?
I don't think so. I don't think a head counts as a limb.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. But yeah, then he gets his thing cut off, and then Dooku like takes a second. He's like, man, these young whippersnappers have really tired me out. And then Yoda walks in, and that fight happens.
Yeah, and so Yoda walks in, and they have like this like force off where the Dooku's like continues like throwing a bunch of things at him. Like he like breaks down the ceiling, and Yoda like catches it, but he's like very slowly sets the rocks down. Or like he like throws them off to the side, and that they do a couple of that, and
then he does some lightning.
Yeah, and like Yoda's like able to like catch the lightning, like redirect it and throw it away, and Count Dooku's like, well, I guess we're not gonna be able to solve this duel by our knowledge of the Force, so we must fight with our lightsabers. And like fight with their lightsabers, and like up until this point, Yoda's been like using his walking stick and like walking very slowly, like very old man like around. But as soon as he like gets his lightsaber out, he's like super nimble and he's like jumping and backflipping all around.
He's doing so many flips. So many flips.
Yeah, he's doing so many flips.
He's. I love how he also like we hear his like kind of scream. He's like, like constantly. It's very silly, but also I love this fight. It's like I know a lot of people like don't like it because it's kind of silly. But it's like, you know, old man Christopher Lee fighting this little green guy who's just flipping all over the place, and he's all CGI, and it's like, you know, I get why people don't like it, but I love it. I love seeing like, you know, Yoda finally being able to like let loose, and we get to see Yoda in basically his prime, like doing lightsaber battles, and it's amazing. All his flips and his tiny lightsaber. It's great.
So great.
Yeah. Of all the things to complain about in this movie, I don't think the very cool fight is one of them.
Right. Yeah, no, it's super cool. I love it.
So as they're doing their fight, like they're doing their lightsaber duel, and Count Dooku, he like uses the Force like across the room to like tear down like a pillar so that it like will fall on Anakin and Obi-Wan as they're like collapsed on the floor. And then Yoda like stops fighting Count Dooku to like hold that in place so that it doesn't fall on them and kill them. And
Dooku runs away.
That's when Dooku escapes.
Yeah. Okay.
Dooku's like, I'm out. Bye.
And then Padme shows up, and does anyone else show up? It's just Yoda and Padme, and is Mace Windu there?
I don't think Mace is there for that part. No.
I think it's a couple clones and Padme.
Yeah.
They go off, and we kind of follow Dooku back off to Coruscant, where he arrives at a familiar location to listeners of Unlimited Content. He goes to the exact same place he was at in our last episode of the podcast, in the creepy industrial,
like abandoned, dilapidated district of Coruscant.
Yeah. The exact same spot that
he flies into the hangar that has like the weird round toothy door that goes down. I was like, as soon as I saw that, I was like, I didn't realize that was in this movie.
I know,
I didn't remember that. It was like, I remember this continuity. This is cool.
Yep.
I feel like this is the first time when it's like watching these things in chronological order is like, oh, I'm noticing things that I didn't notice before.
Yeah.
You know? That's cool. Anyway, he flies in there, and the Emperor's there, and they're like, everything is going according to plan.
Yep. Yeah. That's when it becomes very clear that these two guys are playing both sides of the same war, and they're just doing this to their own benefit, we assume.
Yeah.
Then we cut to the Jedi Council chambers, and it's Yoda and Mace and Obi-Wan are there, and they're talking about like, Obi-Wan's like, yeah, I gotta admit, I don't think we would have won if it weren't for the clones. And and yeah, like and he says something like, "Yeah, at least we got a victory out of this." And you're just like, "Victory? No, there's no victory in this. There's a war now. The Clone War has begun. Like, this is not good." And then that scene's over, and we go to I think the last. I think from there we just go to the wedding scene. We go and see Anakin and Padme back on Naboo on that same like little like balcony over the water, and they're getting married by some mysterious person who we never really see a close up of, but they get married by somebody.
Yeah,
just a silhouette of a dude.
Yeah, and also 3PO and R2D2 are there.
Yeah. And there's like spooky evil music going on in the back. I was like, oh no, forbidden marriage.
Yep. Oh, and then the final scene is it's just all the clones getting on ships and flying away, and we see Palpatine and Bail Organa and a couple other senators on the balcony watching all of these clone troops deploy from Coruscant to presumably the rest of the galaxy.
Yeah. And then the wedding happens, and then it's credits.
Oh, you're right. Okay. Yep.
Yeah. We did it. We reached it. Yeah.
Yay!
Max, thank you for your very thorough summary of the movie. That was well done. Thank you very much.
It was good, yeah.
You're welcome. I kind of petered out there at the end, but I did my very best to remember as much as I could.
It was much appreciated.
Yeah. That's what brothers are for. We're here. We got it.
Thank you.
Also, it's just it's a very confusing end to the movie. It's just a lot of happening.
Yeah, a lot of things happen. There's a lot of intercutting between different things in this movie. So yeah,
you did great.
There was one thing that we did kind of skip over that I wanted to touch on, which is the fact that
tell me.
Basically, in order to deploy the clone army, they had to like approve it, and so they were like, we need to give Palpatine emergency powers. And
yes, I love democracy.
They're like, if only Padme were here. And then they look at Jar Jar, and Jar Jar's like, oh, I can do it. And so Jar Jar grants emergency powers to the Chancellor, thereby screwing up everything for everyone. So thanks, Jar Jar. You started a war.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love democracy.
The Empire rose to power because Jar Jar was suggestible.
Like, he's like, I can help.
That's literally, like, Palpatine just never gave up his power and became the Emperor. That was it. Now it's the Empire. So, oops.
Indeed. Oh,
yep.
No, this is just a small thing, but like, Kit Fisto has the best smile.
I love Kit Fisto.
He's got this giant like grin. Like, Kit Fisto is the green guy with a bunch of tentacles coming up his head. Yeah. He's the Jedi.
Okay, yeah.
And he's like, he's
cool.
got the biggest grin and also like his giant black shiny eyes. He's just such a like. I want to hang out with him. He seems friendly. Yeah. He seems nice.
Just like he's a Jedi with a smiley face for a head, but also an octopus.
Yeah, basically.
Yep. I noticed one other thing about the whole Sifo-Dyas, Tyrannus, Sidious situation. So we learned. I wasn't sure when we were talking in last episode, when we see Dooku deleting the archive of Kamino, using Sifo-Dyas' credentials. We cut forward to episode 2, Attack of the Clones. Sifo-Dyas is the one that commissioned the Clone Army. He died 10 years ago, but the Clone Army was commissioned after Sifo-Dyas died. We learned that in this episode. So the Kaminoans didn't know Sifo-Dyas was dead. Someone was using Sifo-Dyas' identity to commission the Clone Army. Either Palpatine or Dooku was the one that did that. And Dooku was the one that recruited Jango Fett and all that stuff. So, yeah. That's that. That was a puzzle piece that I puzzled together while watching this.
Yeah. I don't remember if we learn more about kind of the... I know in the Clone Wars they do talk about Sifo-Dyas a little bit more. I don't remember exactly how much they say about Sifo-Dyas and that whole situation. So I'd love to learn more about, like, exactly when did this happen, who killed Sifo-Dyas and when, and at what point did they take over his identity, and who went to go see, like, was it actually Sifo-Dyas went to visit them at one point, or did he never go there and it was just, like, Dooku going there and saying that he was Sifo-Dyas or something? I don't know. Like, there's a lot of unknowns there. At least unknown to me. Maybe elsewhere in canon that's explained, but...
Likewise, yeah.
Okay, well, now that we've gone through the whole dang movie, let's go ahead and talk about, go one by one. What's our favorite part of this movie? Sam, why don't you go first?
My favorite part, the part that made me laugh the most was all of C-3PO's like play on words when he was like becoming a battle droid.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just all
His
of
head
that.
gets dragged across the ground by R2, and he's like, "Oh, this is such a drag."
Oh, what a drag. He's like, oh, I'm beside myself.
So that was probably my favorite funny part of the movie. That's my favorite part of the movie. I love that. I don't know, all the action was great. That just that makes my heart smile the most was that part. So I'm gonna say that.
Nice. What about you, Max? Do you have a favorite part, your favorite moment, favorite scene?
I really enjoyed a lot of this movie. First scene, like immediate, like the fantastic comedic timing of the ship blowing up immediately after the guy saying like there was no problems. I just like that was just so incredibly perfect. It was fantastic. That's definitely one of my favorite parts of the movie. I did not get to mention it before. Anakin's very chrome ship.
Yes, the Naboo ship. It's like a tech demo. It's like they're showing off ray tracing for the first time. It's
Yeah.
like, look at this. It's incredible. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Here. I like a lot of the designs for Star Wars ships. They're all just so like goofy and impractical, but it doesn't matter because it looks cool.
Yes.
Like Obi-Wan's like circle ship thing.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
the hyper space.
I mean,
like,
the
ring
ring
thing.
the ring is the hyperdrive basically. Like that's how it gets across.
Yeah.
But yeah, I always thought that was a cool
Yeah.
design though. Like the idea that it's like a separate like thing that they use to.
Yeah, it's very cool, but also very silly. It's just like circle.
Yeah.
I love it. And we have to remember that like most of like the ships in Star Wars were designed like what would like 7-year-olds love playing with as toys. Or like what could like let's just design a
for
toy,
sure.
put it in a movie, and then sell the toy. Like that's a lot of Star Wars design is that. At least in the prequel era.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's all very good designs.
Oh yeah, it's so much fun.
I would absolutely buy one of those like circle tanks. I would love that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Let's see. My favorite part. I mean, I'll probably list a couple, but like, I really liked the chase sequence through Coruscant in the air with the speeders. That whole sequence is really fun. You get people like falling through the air and landing on ships and doing like dives and dodging out of the way, and there's a lot going on. It's a really fun sequence. I think that was super cool. I also liked, I mentioned this already, but that one scene where Anakin's riding across Tatooine on the speeder is just a gorgeous moment visually and also with the music and everything. I love that. The lighting and the movement and the composition and everything feels really cool. I love that moment. And then I guess just all the Obi-Wan Anakin banter. Like we get even more of that in the Clone Wars and in Revenge of the Sith, but like I love Ewan McGregor's Obi-Wan is great, and the two of them together, like just kind of sassing back and forth and making little jokes, is one of my favorite parts of this movie, if not my favorite part. Yeah. And then one other just moment that I've always thought was super cool is when all the Jedi show up in the arena, and you've got that one shot of like just a ton of Jedi running with their lightsabers out at all the droids, and it's just like, oh my gosh, yeah, all the Jedi are here. It's so cool. Yeah. So lots of great little moments in this movie. A lot to love about this. As stilted and weird and uncomfortable as some of the dialogue and the relationships are at times, and as illogical as some of the decisions that characters make, like all the red flags that Padme just decides to ignore, and it's still, these movies still have so much going for them that like I love just the amount of creativity and like new environments and designs and areas and expansion of the lore, and there's so much to love about the prequels, and I think Attack of the Clones exemplifies a lot of that. So
yeah. Who do we think the MVP of this episode is? I already kind of said who I think it should be, but I want to hear you guys' thoughts on who you think the most valuable character, or what we have in our description, which character deserves recognition for being particularly awesome?
Padme's 10,000 costume changes.
Honestly, I'll go with Padme. Just period. Like, yes, her costumes are awesome.
Yeah.
But like the fact that she continued. Like, I think Padme as a character is one of the strongest, most like admirable characters in Star Wars.
Oh yeah,
because she's like,
yeah,
she's consistently like wanting to serve her people and do what's right. And she doesn't let like danger get in the way of that, and she's constantly like on the move and being brave and trying their best to do the right thing. Like, she's the one who like decides, no, we're gonna go save Obi-Wan because he needs our help, and like in the Colosseum fight, she like totally like is able to handle things on her own. And she, she's the first one out of her restraints, and she climbs up on the thing, and she like, she's just does so many cool things and is.
Yeah.
And also looks styling all the time while doing it.
Yeah.
So
very intentionally styling the entire time.
Yes. So yeah, Padme is my MVP, I think.
Yep. I have to agree with Padme, but Dex gets an honorable mention for sure. I love
Dexter
Dex.
Jester, yes.
He's
love him.
Yep. He's one of my favorite characters in all of Star Wars just because he is who he is, and I love him.
What about you, Max? Do you have a... Well, you already said, you kind of said Padme, right?
Yeah, I definitely agree with Padme.
Yeah. Or Padme's stylist.
Padme's stylist.
Yes, Padme's stylist. Padme's wig maker.
Yeah.
Or whoever designed your suitcases. to fit all of this things.
Those very space-efficient suitcases.
Yeah. And that one youngling who tells Obi-Wan what to think. He's like, they deleted it, you idiot.
Yes.
Thanks, youngling.
How embarrassing.
How embarrassing.
How embarrassing.
Yeah. All right. So now we have our stats for the day. So I took some notes on stats about things. So Wilhelm Scream, we got the one. We got the one near the beginning in that explosion. So we did get one Wilhelm Scream. By far as you could probably guess, by far the person with the most kills was Anakin in this episode.
Oh yeah.
And obviously there's no way to exactly determine how many people he killed, but I went and looked back at some things and this is what I landed on. So the most kills he did was obviously in the Tusken Raider village, the Sand People village. He killed all the men and the women and children, not just the men.
Yeah, not just the men, the women and children.
I tried to just count all the, how many Tusken Raiders there were that we saw, but I was like, that didn't really help. And also it's hard to tell them apart, so it's like hard to count like how many. So what I did was there was one wide shot where you could see the whole village. And so I counted 25 tents. So I would assume that there's at least one person per tent. So he killed a minimum of 25 people is what I decided on. So 25 from that, and then also he kills 11 Geonosians on Geonosis.
Yeah, it was during the Geonosis scene where he's like slicing. I was like, I forgot to keep track of how many people Anakin was killing.
Yeah, so by my count it was 11. So Anakin killed a minimum, probably more, but a minimum of 36 people in this one episode. So yeah. And then Django gets.
And I was just gonna say we learn in later episodes of Star Wars, like we learned in like Mandalorian and in Clone Wars and Rebels that like both the Tusken Raiders and the Geonosians are very much like just like indigenous people with like their own like culture and stuff. They're not just like the prequels and the original trilogy kind of like make them seem like these kind of like savages out in like the
animals.
Yeah. But like the TV show is definitely like, no, these are just the indigenous people of this planet.
Yeah. Yeesh.
Yeah.
Oops.
Yeah. So Jango Fett gets 2 kills. He kills the Jedi who he like shoots off the balcony in Geonosis, and also he assassinates the assassin. He kills the changeling. So that's
Zam
2 kills
Wessel.
there. Yep, Zam Wessel. Mace Windu gets 1 kill. He kills Jango Fett, obviously. And then in terms of lost appendages, Anakin loses an arm, and the changeling loses an arm or hand or whatever. So that's 2 lost appendages in this episode. And that's all I've got on stats for this week. But yeah.
What a movie. This is great.
What a film.
Yeah.
What a film.
Yeah. Max, did you have any other like general thoughts or comments about this movie and what you thought about it, what the experience was like? It's okay if you don't. I was just wondering.
Yeah. I think despite its kind of like rough edges for being such early like CG, it was a very, very beautiful like film.
Oh, yeah.
Like the art direction was fantastic. It's like you can very much tell like it is of its time, like aesthetically, but it is very, very pretty. Like all like the just like the physical costuming and like the created environments, like the place where the like building in Geonosis, like where the like Count Dooku and all of them were, just like the architecture in there was stunning, and also like everything looked like it was like had too few polygons and
it looked like PlayStation 2 characters and
yeah, it was all like GameCube test demo level like just learning how to use reflections and such, but it nonetheless gorgeous.
Yeah, I
Agreed.
I think great art direction does not age. Yeah.
Yes.
So
for sure.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I admire the most about the prequels is how many like creative risks and kind of visually interesting and unique ideas they decided to go with, because they very well could have just like made everything look like the original trilogy, which I mean the sequels kind of did that, and I think it's a benefit to the prequels that they look so unique and we get a sense of all these different cultures and places, and things don't look as homogenous as maybe they did in the original trilogy. Like there are plenty of different locations and stuff, but you get the sense that like everything's been kind of standardized and everything's kind of run down and beaten up in the original trilogy, whereas in the prequels we get more of some areas that are like Naboo looks nice. Naboo looks like a place that's been kept up and has like its own culture and everything, and it hasn't been like decimated by the Empire, Yeah.
Cool.
I think the lesson of today is don't trust Jar Jar with anything.
I would agree.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Right. We don't have anything for the viewer mailbag this week. We don't have any voicemails, I don't believe. Right, Sam?
That's correct. We got, I got plenty of people just like sending in good vibes and keep up the good works, but like, it's kind of it. So
yeah,
we love we love hearing from you guys. It's great. If you want to leave voicemail, feel free. If you want to just DM us, also feel free. Read out your message on the podcast whenever you do that. So there you go.
Indeed. And also, we are by the time this episode is out, we will probably be on Apple Podcasts and Google Podcasts in addition to Spotify. So I got that set up last night.
Love.
So we're available in more places. So if you would like to listen on a different platform, you can do that. Or maybe you're listening on one of those platforms right now and you already knew that.
Wow,
so
man,
fancy.
Amazing, incredible.
Love it.
But yeah, thank you for joining us, Max. This has been really fun. I'm glad we got to have all three of the bros on one episode together.
Yes,
it was nice.
Yes,
it was very fun. Thank you for having me.
It was an honor to have you. We loved it.
Yeah, we'd love to have you back another time to talk about something else. It's not like we have a shortage of of things to watch. We have, as you would say, unlimited content. So I said the thing. Roll credits. All right. Well, thank you at home listeners for joining us as well. Join us next time when we will be starting our journey into the Clone Wars, which I'm very excited about because, man, the Clone Wars is like, it's got its rough patches, obviously, but like, I love that series and I'm so excited to get into the Clone Wars. It's going to be exciting. Next time we're going to be talking about the first episode of Clone Wars chronologically, which is actually season 2, episode 16, Cat and Mouse. So feel free to watch that ahead of time if you'd like. And yeah, then after that we'll have another Clone Wars episode, and then we'll watch the Clone Wars movie. So Yeah, and then from there on, it's mostly just more Clone Wars stuff for quite a while. But, yeah.
We're going to be Clone Wars for about a year, at least.
Yeah. You do get like 1 or 2 episodes of Tales of the Jedi in there, but...
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But yeah. All right, bros. This has been great. It's been real. It's been fun. It's been real fun.
It's been real and fun and real fun.
Indeed.
It's been all those.
I love you both.
All right, yeah, I love you guys too.
Love you.
Thank you all at home for listening, and may the Force be with you all. Goodbye, everybody.
Yay.
Bye now.
Bye.
All right, cut the chatter. Roger, Roger.